I've got a degenerating eyesight, that I've been told that I will potentially lose all of my eyesight by my mid-20s, and at that time I'm like 20 years old. I might have like 5 years left before the lights go out and I can't see anything. I told my dad I'm finishing athletics, that was the end of it. Somebody talked to me about para-sport, and now I'm getting to become a para-athlete and given the second chance to do something that I once loved. I was like, oh my God, I'm here at Paralympic Games. That just made my heart just like, just pounding. Visualization has been a key part of my success. Imagining the people that I'm competing against, the smells of the track, who will be there, what could put me off. And it came down, left foot hit the ground and bang, it left my hand. And I knew instantly the best throw of my life.
Hello and welcome to the England Athletics podcast. We're launching a new series, Ready, Set, Glasgow. You might have guessed that's inspired by the Commonwealth Games this summer, and be delightful really to just provide this new setting to talk to athletes on camera, to sit them down and get them into a relaxed space where we can find out new things about them. And delighted to say, joining me for this series, twice Paralympic javelin champion and world record holder Dan Pembroke. Dan, great to be with you.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Yeah, so you are the co-presenter. I know it feels like I'm talking into a little bit of a mirror right now, but
we look uncannily similar, don't we? Well, I think we're the same height as well, same beard.
Yeah, same age, I believe, as well, but hopefully a dynamic duo here, and we're going to find plenty out about these athletes. But Adam Jamili, Emily Newnham, Dan Greaves, among those that we're looking to feature in this series, all have great stories, but I think many people don't quite realise how great your story is, because of course, yes, they may know that you've won the Paralympic Games twice, but of course, you started out at the World Juniors in 2010. So just take me a little bit back to your story starting out.
Yeah, I mean, I started my sort of javelin experience really from school, as many athletes do. And, I found out I was like, I think second best in my school at the time, but I was the only one that went to a club, and went to my local club. And then all of a sudden my passion for javelin throwing blossomed, and, I became better and better and better. And then, I went through the age groups and I started getting age group records, British records. And I thought, hang on a minute, this could be something that I could do as a career. And like you said, 2010, went to Moncton, Canada, and I'd never been to Canada before. I've never been, out that far away from home, and it was an incredible experience for me. And to be on that international stage really opened my eyes, and I was loving what I was doing. Unfortunately, I did have an injury after that. As I was gunning up for the 2012 Olympic Games, I snapped my medial collateral ligament literally 2 months before the trials. And so, it was absolutely gut-wrenching time in my life, because that's all I wanted to do, and I had all my eggs in one basket.
Must have been tough, obviously, to watch an Olympic Games at that time. And I know we talked before, and you were sort of saying it's almost like watching it from behind the sofa, that you feel some sort of anguish about not being able to be there, or at least not being able to give yourself a chance to show your best to try and qualify.
Yeah, definitely. To have that, I tore my medial collateral ligament in a competition, and I was having the performance of my life, in those opening competitions, and these things just happen, and you can't. I never expected that would happen there and then, but it did. But it also led me on to kind of reevaluate my life goals, because I needed surgery, so I got the surgery done on my elbow. But in that reflection period, I thought to myself, I've got a degenerating eyesight, that I've been told that I will potentially lose all of my eyesight by my mid-20s, and at that time I'm like 20 years old. I'm thinking, have I really seen the things that I want to see in the world? And, I might have like 5 years left before the lights go out and I can't see anything. So my dad was my coach at the time, and I told him, look, I want to go traveling. I want to see the world, before it's gone, visibly for me. And so, I told my dad I'm finishing athletics. That was the end of it. Put my finger on a map of of Europe, and it landed in the Mediterranean Sea, and the nearest landmass was Sardinia. And so I was off, and I went to Sardinia backwards and forwards, and then decided to go and live there for a whole season. And from there, I got the travelling bug, and I travelled around the world.
Yeah, I'm glad you said nearest landmass. I thought I just went into the middle of the sea.
I became a swimmer.
Should we call out a search and rescue? So I have a friend, he said, I'm here right now. And he looked like he was in the middle of the outback in Australia. And I was like, maybe time to come home.
Yeah.
But yeah, you went all around the world, including to those parts that far away.
Yeah. And, my eyesight had deteriorated, during that time when I was travelling in total. I was away from the UK for like 4.5 years. Maybe at first I think I was very courageous, because I think one thing my eyesight had given me is this ability not to procrastinate on the things I wanted to do. So I just went, you know what, I'm going to do it, because if I don't do it now, I'm never ever going to get a chance to do it. And so I did that. My eyesight became worse towards the end of my travels, and I had a few near misses with like forklifts. I was working on farms, all these backpackers jobs, and there was sort of health and safety was at the lowest priority in the places I was working at. And I was thinking, look, if I don't be careful here, I'm going to really become, disabled, and God knows what could happen. And so I decided to come away from traveling at that point and upskill myself and become a sports massage therapist. And that's when I moved to Hereford for the College for the Blind. And it was there where my brain started ticking and thinking, I wonder if I can throw javelin again. And so that's when I started going to the local track and picking up these old rusty javelins and trying to throw these. And
that you found behind the bushes or something.
Yeah.
Expensive things though.
Yeah, these ones weren't. They were rusted with half a grip on them. But it's what I could find. And then somebody talked to me about parasport and said, have you ever thought about trying for that? And I did. And I didn't think that I would get into being a para-athlete, because I didn't know how bad my eyesight was, because it's adapting upon year with losing eyesight, and you just adapt to the best of your ability and you don't feel disabled. But when I realised how well another person with good sight can see, it makes me really reflect. And especially being in parasport, I'm quite proud of myself for the things that I exposed myself to that would seem totally undoable from somebody that does have sight.
So that realisation that you could be classified as a para-athlete, what's the process there? Just explain in brief terms. Do you have to go for some sort of examination?
Yeah, so initially you have your national classification. That's how we kind of grade a person's disability and what category to put them in. And visual impairment is, for athletics, is F or T, 11, 12 or 13. 13 being the least visually impaired, 12s being severely sight impaired, and then fully blindness, T or F, 11. And so I was categorised in F13. And so what they've done is they basically put me in this machine where they test my visual fields to what I can see. And I came away and I had the acuity test as well to see what I could see at distance. My central vision was pretty good, but soon after coming out of that examination room, they came to me and said, right, okay, we're going to class you into F13, but you are borderline on F12. And that really hit me hard. I didn't even think that I'd qualify for any of these classifications, and it really took me back negatively at first, and then almost this realization of, wow, I've been doing the things that I've been doing in my life with this condition, and now I'm getting to become a para-athlete and given the second chance to do something that I once loved, that I said goodbye to many years ago prior. So yeah, it was a really weird moment. It was like I was flittering on the edge of negativity and incredible positivity all at one time, and then I got exposed into that world of parasport and never really looked back, and it was a beautiful journey so far.
Yeah, and of course taking you to the first Paralympic Games in a COVID time, what was that experience like?
Well, I'd never had an Olympics or Paralympics before, right? So I didn't know what to expect, and so for me, going to Tokyo was amazing. I was blown away from actually going into the stadium, and there was no one in the seats, right? But the stands just went up into the night sky. I was competing in the evening, and that just made my heart just like pop, 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 just pounding, And I was like, oh my God, I'm here at Paralympic Games, and my nerves were all over the place. But I managed to come out there with a Paralympic record of 69 meters, and yeah, I was blown away. It was amazing.
And actually, we had you on this podcast just after you won the second Paralympic gold medal, and there was quite a journey though within that year itself.
Yeah, so I changed coach at the start of the year. Changed coach, tore my hamstring in 1st of January, tore my soleus before the World Championships in 2024. So a lot of things happened, lots of change that I had to kind of adapt to. But ultimately, working with my new coach, John Trower, he instilled this philosophy around competing, which has helped me to this day, and I think visualization has been a key part of my success, visualizing being at the competition. And I'll be like laying on the ground thinking about this competition, going through 6 throws, imagining the people that I'm competing against, the smells of the track, who will be there, what could put me off. And so going through all these scenarios made me so attuned to being there at the Paralympic Stadium in Stade de France. And that when I walked out of those gates, out of the call room, everything felt like deja vu. It was like a really weird, surreal feeling. And I was then just able to relax. And then first 2 throws, not so great. They were still decent throws. I knew I was on for a good throw. 3rd throw came out, world record 71.15. And I was like, wow, man, I've done this. And I went back to my coaching. It's like, John, he was there and he said to me, look, just calm down. There's more in the tank. This crowd's behind you now. They're watching you. And just concentrate on those process goals that you've been concentrating on and go out there and execute. And on the 4th throw, I came down. Everything went right. Every step was perfect for me. And because I wasn't in great physical condition, I had to be great up here. So I'd done the best I could with the tools that I had. And came down, left foot hit the ground and bang, it left my hand. And I knew instantly, even if I couldn't see the javelin where it went, I knew it was a good throw, the best throw of my life. And 49 meters went out, and the crowd went wild.
Isn't that extraordinary? How many times have you thrown a javelin, including in major competitions, and then that is the one moment where everything comes together, the acceleration on the runway, the transfer of energy then into the throw, pushing all the way through the implement, blocking on the line to come to a complete stop. There's so many things within that process. And the fact that what an image, lying down on the ground, visualizing everything so that you could come through and deliver that perfectly. It's an extraordinary process. And I just wonder how some of the athletes that we speak to, whether they'll be different. You'll have to bring that up and talk to them about their processes, because we know that athletes are different, especially when you throw in a squad of hurdlers and sprinters and long jumpers, and you just find out that obviously they're going to be quite different characters.
Yeah, I think for me, I work in such a way where for somebody to coach me, I've found out this from changing different coach and getting perspective from different people. But I work best with feeling. Somebody says to me, like John says to me, stand tall. That's easy to do for me. I'm like, all right, I'll stand tall. And the consequence of standing tall in a javelin throw helps you become more on your feet and more in control, and more lined up. So all these things, just by saying one word, stay tall, can influence many different things in the runway. And I think as you maybe become more of a mature athlete, you start to become more feeling-led rather than cue-led as some younger athletes are. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see, from the athletes that we do interview, to see whether or not that's the case.
But also a coach that's able to say 2 words and then to mean a lot more, that's a sign of a good coach rather than, deliver an overload of information that you don't want.
Yeah, John basically, through the sessions, he may say 50 words, and it's all self-reflective stuff. So he'll be like, I'll have a throw. How'd that feel? He knows he could say many different things to me, but he wants to hear what I'm feeling first to give feedback so that he can then sort of like turn what he wants me to do. He wants me to have that self-realization, which is really, really important in an athlete, because you think, World Championships, Olympic Games, you may not even be able to hear your coach. So to be able to know what you've done, have that proprioception, and know where you've gone wrong on the last throw, can really help, you self-regulate in a major championships.
So since we last spoke, there's been some new changes in your life. One of them is becoming a dad. This is within the last 6 months, isn't it? So, beaming smile on your face already. Just tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, I mean, probably after Paris, I was probably a little bit lost, if I'm honest. I went from doing everything that I wanted to do in the sport in one night. I executed everything I wanted to do, and after that, obviously, my love still is with javelin throwing and everything, but I was kind of a little bit lost. Where my next aim was. Like 4 years ahead, we're looking at another Paralympic Games, and for us as para athletes, that's the only other major event that we'll have. And so, I felt a little bit lost, and all of a sudden, the news of Martina being pregnant, my wife, and it really made me feel fulfilled, again, and sort of like my cup becoming full again. And my son was born last year in November, just after the World Championships, and he's just an absolute light of my life. But it's difficult to train and be a dad at the same time. Yeah, it's like, those first couple of months are just chaos. So I took this year really as a down low year, and sort of like be a little bit kind to myself. The last couple of years that I've been performing, I've just been going. So this time is a bit of a relax, and I don't know what it would be like. I mean, I know Dan Greaves, right? He's got 2 kids, and he's prepped for major championships when his child has been 6 months old, then when he's competing in the world champs. That guy, I mean, inspiration.
Good thing to say. Sorry, I got to go off and train.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
It's a good excuse though, isn't it?
Yeah. Of course, also brewing your own beer. What a new world to get into.
Yeah. Well, we think about, so it just became a bit of a hobby of mine to brew beer. And, with this mentality of visualization, things like this, and manifestation, I thought to myself, what's my way of manifesting what I want to achieve in Paris? And so I thought to myself, I'm going to make a beer. And I'm going to name it Paris Gold. And I envisioned myself standing there with a gold medal and a pint of my own Paris Gold in the other hand, and celebrating. And so that was a real physical thing for me to do. And then, Sky News picked up on the story, and it kind of lifted up a little bit. And then I went to Paris, and I achieved what I wanted to achieve, and managed to smuggle the Paris Gold beer into the village and toast the team. And from then, we then managed to get a commercial brewer to brew it, Siren. And it was a commercial beer that I was able to celebrate with the nation. They were able to go and buy it. And it was a really cool thing to have my name on a beer can, with the medal on there and everything.
Yeah, it's something that you've thrown yourself into as an athlete, isn't it? You've maybe put your sort of performance mindset to win into something that I'm going to make sure there's fruition from this product.
Yeah, I mean, it's quite a quirky thing. I don't think it's ever been done before, where an athlete creates their own beer, you know what I mean? Beer and athlete don't really go together, but...
Well, that's an interesting one, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, celebration goes well with athletes. So, and often, as adults, we'd like to celebrate with a beer. So I thought to myself, let me create that myself and create that experience.
That's funny, because I was looking around houses recently, and my partner said to the estate agent, looking for somewhere where we can maybe invite people round for a few glasses of wine. I said, oh, just the one glass, because I want to make sure that people think I'm a serious, responsible person that's capable of owning a house. But you're trying to say it's the one pint that we're celebrating with.
Yeah, well, if you win Olympics or Paralympic Games, maybe you're due another pint.
We should ask athletes
a
about
second
that,
pint.
about how they switch off.
Yeah,
and how they find those moments to make sure they have balance in the right way.
That's really important, isn't it? Because, I mean, to be fully on all the time, like, the battery's going to run out, mentally or physically. So, yeah, I think it'd be interesting to see if people, athletes performing at their top actually do that, or whether or not they are just turned on all the time.
Brilliant. Well, great chatting to you, because your story is just fascinating. There's so much we can go into there, and we'll talk about it some more when we have some of the athletes on, and really looking forward to do that with great backdrop of the Alexander Stadium with us as well. What more could you want in terms of inspiration? And great to have you with me, and look forward to this little podcast journey where we talk to athletes on this Ready, Set, Glasgow series. So thank you very much for watching, and please do stay tuned to what's to come on this series on YouTube, and also on the usual audio apps like Spotify as well.